Hey everyone, welcome to our deep dive on Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. If you're here, you're probably like me, always looking for those self-improvement tips that actually make a difference. And let me tell you, this one is a game changer.
Oh, absolutely. A game changer. What I find fascinating about the 5-second rule is how it takes these really complex neuroscience ideas and makes them something anyone can use. Plus, Mel Robbins, she practices what she preaches.
Totally. Okay, so for anyone who's maybe heard of the 5-second rule but doesn't quite have a grasp on it, what is it in a nutshell?
So imagine this. You want to get up early, but that snooze button is calling your name, or maybe you're in a meeting, you have a great idea, but hesitate to speak up. The 5-second rule says don't overthink it. Just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just launch yourself into action.
It's like that feeling when you jump into cold water,
Yeah.
right? You just got to go for it. Is that connected to how procrastination works? I know Mel Robbins talks about her own struggles with that.
Yeah, 100%. You see, procrastination often comes from our brain trying to protect us, even if it means keeping us stuck. It's like that fight or flight response kicking in when we're about to step outside our comfort zone. The countdown helps us short circuit that fear response.
Oh, wow. That makes a lot of sense. So Mel Robbins wasn't always this productivity guru then.
No, not at all. She's very open about going through a rough patch, struggling financially, hitting that snooze button every morning. And then one night, she's watching a rocket launch on TV.
Hold on. A rocket launch.
That
That's what sparked the 5-second rule.
You wouldn't believe it. Right. But she had this epiphany watching that countdown, and it clicked. We hesitate, we give ourselves that tiny bit of time, and bam, self-doubt takes over. That was her light bulb moment.
And she started using it to get out of bed.
No,
I love that. It's such a simple concept, but it seems so powerful.
that's the beauty of it. It's not about becoming a completely different person overnight. It's about bridging that gap between what we want to do and actually doing it.
It's like we're exercising that getting stuff done muscle, one 5-second decision at a time.
Mm.
But there's actual science backing this up too, right?
Absolutely. You see, our brains are wired to seek comfort, to avoid anything that seems risky. When we hesitate, it's often our amygdala. That's the fear center of the brain,
Hmm.
sending out alarm signals.
So it's like our brain is trying to protect us, even if it means we stay stuck in a rut.
Precisely. And the thing is, when we feel anxious or overwhelmed, our prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision making, can actually go offline.
No wonder it feels so hard to break free from old habits. So the 5-second rule is like a hack to regain control before those fear-based reactions take over.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a fear-based mindset to an action-oriented one, basically retraining our brains to respond differently to challenges.
I could already see how this applies to so many areas of life. Mel Robbins talks about this guy, Mark, and his story really brings this home.
Oh, Mark, yeah, he's a great example of how small changes can have a massive impact. He was the king of overthinking, always putting things off.
I know those types, they have the best intentions, but can't seem to take that first step.
That was Mark to a T. He wanted to start a business, get in shape. He even wanted to just clean out his garage. Then he comes across this 5-second rule, and things started to change for him.
Did he like become super productive overnight, or was it more gradual?
Well, not exactly overnight, but pretty close. He started using that countdown for everything, like getting out of bed, finally tackling his inbox, even just saying yes to social invitations when he would normally stayed home.
I love that it's like those little decisions gave him the momentum to go after the big stuff.
Exactly, exactly. He started to see himself differently as someone who takes action, and that boosted his confidence even more.
It's that whole idea of building momentum, right? And I'm guessing Mel Robbins has a ton of examples for those everyday challenges. Like we all know the struggle of hitting the snooze button, right?
Oh, tell me about it. But that's where the 5-second rule shines. Instead of lying there debating with yourself, she says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and throw those covers off before you can even think.
You got to outsmart your sleep-deprived brain.
That's the key. That's the key. And it's the same for exercise. Like next time you're glued to the couch but know you should work out, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just get those shoes on before you can come up with an excuse.
I need to try that one. What about those situations where you're in a meeting, you have a great idea, but then that hesitation creeps in?
The 5-second rule can be so powerful in those moments. You know that feeling when you're about to speak up, but then that inner critic pipes up?
Oh yeah, like, don't say anything, it's probably stupid.
Yeah.
I know that voice all too well.
Exactly. But next time, try this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just raise your hand. Trust your gut. Take that leap, even if your voice shakes a little.
It's all about building that confidence muscle, right? And speaking of taking leaps, Mel Robbins tells a story about a guy named Todd. He used the 5-second rule to make a pretty big career change, if I remember correctly.
Oh, Todd's story is incredible. So he's studying law, right? But it turns out he's doing it to please his parents. Deep down, he's always wanted to be a physical education teacher.
Wow, that's a tough spot to be in, feeling that pressure to follow a path that isn't yours.
Absolutely. And he struggled with it for years, feeling completely stuck. Then one day he's sitting in this law lecture and it hits him. He can't ignore his passion any longer.
So what did he do? Just walked out then and there.
Pretty much. He 54321 himself right out of that lecture hall, went straight to the registrar's office, and dropped out. Then, get this, he drove to a different university and applied for their physical education program.
Bold move. That's amazing. It shows you don't have to just use the 5-second rule for these small everyday things. It can apply to big life changes too.
Absolutely. It's about getting clear on your values and then taking action, even when it's scary. And speaking of scary, Mel Robbins even talks about using the 5-second rule to deal with things like the fear of flying.
Oh, wow. I can see that. I know people who are absolutely terrified of flying. How does the rule help with something that intense?
It's all about interrupting that spiral of negative thoughts. So instead of fixating on worst case scenarios, she'd 54321 and visualize yourself enjoying the flight, focusing on the positive.
So it's like you're consciously redirecting your brain to a calmer, more positive state.
Exactly. And it can be applied to everyday anxieties too. Mel Robbins talks about taking her daughter prom dress shopping, and even that got to her.
Oh, I can only imagine the pressure, the emotions running high.
Yeah, it got to be too much, and she felt herself spiraling. But then she used the 5-second rule to shift her mindset to a place of gratitude.
I love that. Focusing on what you're thankful for in that moment. It's so powerful.
It seems so simple, but it makes all the difference. And this actually ties into something else Mel Robbins talks about: open communication in relationships.
Oh, that's interesting. She tells a story about a conversation with her father,
Yeah,
right? Something about him needing surgery.
exactly. She found out he needed brain surgery, and obviously she's worried sick. But when she finally talked to him, she used the 5-second rule to ask him the hard question, "Are you scared?"
Wow. That takes courage to be that direct.
It does. But you know what? That question led to a really beautiful conversation between them, very honest. It's a good reminder that sometimes the most courageous thing we can do is be vulnerable, ask the tough question.
And those are often the conversations that can really strengthen our relationships. This is making me realize just how many different situations this rule can apply to. But let's be real, we're not going to be perfect at this every time. We're human. We're going to slip up.
Mel Robbins is very realistic about that. She emphasizes self-forgiveness because, let's face it, we're all going to make mistakes. It's part of the process.
It's about being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves grace, and then getting back on track.
Right. And she even talks about this idea of productive procrastination, which I find fascinating. Sometimes stepping away from a project, especially a creative one, can actually help us come back to it with fresh eyes and new ideas.
It's about finding that balance, right?
Mhm.
Between action and rest. This whole deep dive has been so insightful, but I want to bring this back to our listeners, make it really practical for them.
Yeah, it's like we're not just going through the motions, we're taking charge, becoming more intentional.
Right, you become the CEO of your own life. And the 5-second rule, it's that little nudge from your own personal cheerleader saying, come on, you got this.
I love that. So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, what's that one thing you really want our listener to take away from all of this? More than anything, I want them to remember this. Action is the antidote to fear, to hesitation, to feeling stuck. Don't wait for the fear to just magically vanish, because it might not. Just take action, even with the fear there.
It's like jumping into cold water. Sometimes you just got to go for it. I love that.
And here's the thing about those small acts of courage. They create a ripple effect. Each time you choose action, you gain momentum and you start to see what you're truly capable of.
Okay, I'm getting chills. I love that visual, the ripple effect of courage. So how about we give our listeners a little challenge, something to put this into practice?
I love a good challenge. What do you have in mind?
All right, here it is. I want our listeners to think of one area in their life, just one for now, where they'd like to make a change but keep hitting that wall of hesitation.
It could be anything, right? Sticking to a morning routine, having that difficult conversation they've been putting off, or finally dusting off that passion project.
Exactly. So here's the challenge. For the next week, anytime you feel that resistance, that urge to back down, I want you to hit that 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then take that first step, no matter how small it seems.
And pay attention to what happens. See the momentum you create. all with just 5 seconds of courage.
I love that. And to really bring it home, I have one last question for our listener. I
Mhm.
want you to fast forward 1 year. You've embraced the 5-second rule in your life. What's different? What have you achieved? What does that future you look like?
Hold on to that vision. That's your potential, just waiting to be unlocked.
And sometimes, all it takes is a 5-second countdown to set it in motion. That's it for our deep dive today, everyone. Until next time, remember, you are capable of amazing things. Don't let those 5 seconds slip away.